Hey, Shalom Markets is Karma Kapash from GMS London, giving all praises and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, B'Shem HaKadosh. Where they give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the hopeful elect, push this truth in all sincerity. Back again with another video, just a quick one. And got this article here, and it's entitled, "Says EU ready to react to unnecessary and stupid tariffs threatened by Trump leaders say as it happened," right? So again, tensions between the whore and the beast is increasing, right? And the beast is started to become more resistant, right? To bury its teeth a little bit towards its handler, which is the US. Okay, America is the whore that sits on the scarlet colored beast, which is the EU, right? NATO, the EU, right? Because that's what that whole block entails, right? The US being the head of NATO. But these European nations that are underneath it, okay, are starting to get fed up by the leadership in the direction of America, as America is turning on them, right? Only and not making decisions that is favorable to everybody. It's like when you mistreat your dog, you got animal, or a dog, you mistreat it, man, right? It's just gonna become violent at a time, And so this is what's occurring, man. The EU, the scarlet colored beast is starting to resist America, all right? And this has a important part in prophecy, right, in the scriptures, right? So it says EU leaders signaled that the bloc would be prepared. The bloc, which represents the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, right? That's the bloc, right? There's more of these other nations that have included themselves underneath them. The bloc is that group of heads, right, and horns, right? EU leaders signaled that the bloc would be prepared to retaliate, to bite the hand that feeds them, right? Which goes into Obadiah chapter 1, all right? Let me just grab that. I just want to grab it now, right? It's Obadiah 1 verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border, the men that were at peace with thee, right? The bloc, right? Because these, again, they're all part of NATO. The US and the EU are part of NATO. And so they're meant to be buddies, right? They're all Western powers, right? Which America is the main power behind the bloc, right? America is the ruler, right? Just like the whore on the beast is the handler, right? It directs the beast, right? So America is the one that gives the orders, right? But they're fed up with taking orders and fed up being, under the oppressive power of America, right? And so they're starting to rebel and buck up, right? So all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, right? They've been playing the game with you, looking for a way to take you out, right? Because you got the whole World Economic Forum. They got issues with America, and then preventing things being done in Europe, right? They see America as a hindrance to their global agenda, because Trump's supposed to be playing that role where he's against the global elite and all this NWO stuff, but he's really on it. It's all an act and a show, but they're making it look like that in the public sphere. All right, so America is becoming a problem. Okay, it says, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread, right, have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding him, right? Because then everyone benefits of being partners with America, right? And so the EU is meant to be its closest partner, right? Both, well, I say that in the sense of ideology, right? They do business similarly, And so they got they call here in Britain, America and Britain got a special relationship, right, which was meant to be like a relationship beyond all other relationships that they have. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're the most beneficial in terms of making each other money and stuff like that, but we have this special relationship. America has a special relationship with white powers, European groups and whatever, right? So yeah, they benefit from being with America, right? But that relationship, that they've had has been breaking down over the years, and so there's a lot of resentment that's growing in Europe, in Britain, right? So it goes again. So they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him, right? So they're in their minds they're really ready to get out of America, but time and chance they biding their time, to do these things, right? The Most High is holding them back for the time being, right? So it says again they're prepared to retaliate against the U.S. if Donald Trump follows through on tariff threats. Right, so it says first EU reactions to Trump's tariff threats against the bloc. Summary. EU leaders have signaled that the bloc would be prepared to retaliate against the US if Donald Trump followed through on his threats to impose tariffs on European goods. Speaking ahead of their informal meeting in Brussels, they repeatedly called for calm and stressed the value of EU-US cooperation, because they're meant to be friends, right? But America ain't being friendly right now, right? But indicated that they would not hide away from responding with tariffs if targeted first, right? EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said the bloc was listening carefully to Trump's comments and preparing on our side to respond if needed. However, she stressed that there are no winners in trade wars, and pointed out that China would be the only beneficiary of that scenario, because the greater enemy is China, politics. Anyway, French President Emmanuel Macron said that if Europe is attacked in terms of trade, it will have to stand up for itself and therefore react. He's been speaking up a lot over the years because he got stung, he got burnt by America not so long ago with his submarine deal with Australia. So he's irate. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk said the EU should do all it can to avoid totally unnecessary and stupid tariff wars. Right, so basically bow, right? And it would be a cruel paradox if the bloc was forced into a trade war with a long-standing ally. Yeah, but this is what's happening. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen, right, who is already embroiled in a separate crisis with Trump over the future of Greenland, like Trump want to buy them out, said that while she would typically never support fighting allies, if the US puts tough tariffs on Europe, we need a collective and robust response. Right, so they're having enough, right? They've had enough of America, man. They're really looking to stand up against them, the bully, because that's what America is, right? America is a bully in the earth, and people are tired of its bullying, right? As is shown by the scripture here in Jeremiah 50. When your destruction cometh, man, everyone's gonna be kind of happy about it, right? So Jeremiah 50 verse 23 says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? Okay, the one that's been hammering down these nations and putting the hammer on them, right, oppressing them. Because America could be been calling the shots. They said they call for tariffs on a nation, bro. What are they supposed to do? It's gonna affect them more than anybody else. So it's like they're screwed because they need the American market. But if they want to sell things, then guess what? It's gonna be tariffed. So the whole buying and selling is in the favor of America still, regardless if they react. What they're going to do, they're going to put their own tariffs on certain goods and whatever. Yeah, it's going to affect American economy a little bit, but you're going to feel a lot more. Believe that, right? America has hegemony and well-reserved currency and all this in its favor right now, and so yeah, what you're going to do in retaliation is really minute in comparison to what damage America can do to you for in a trade war, because the EU is weak, right? EU is weak. So yeah, right. So yeah, the hammer, right? So how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? All right. So you're the oppressive force on the planet that these people are tired of, man. Right. Um, Luxembourg's Prime Minister Luc Frieden also said the answer to tariffs is to reply with the same action, but insisted it should not overshadow today's discussion of defense. But some leaders struck a more conciliatory tone. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, right, said any tariffs would be bad for the US and bad for Europe, and stressed the need for cooperation to resolve the situation. Finnish Prime Minister Petteri Orpo said we have to negotiate with Trump before adding, I am not going to start a war, I want to start negotiations. All right. Some men don't want to take the fight. Right. So the heads are in disagreements and stuff, right? But nevertheless, the mood of everything is changing. All right, it's changing. It was these timelines here, the articles, right? So I saw one that was interesting. Yeah, this one. Idea we could run NATO without the US is a silly thought, right? Because like I said, the US runs shit out here, right? And the US is a major part of all these nations. They depend on America so much, right? In some form or other. Gets asked about a potential trade war between the US and Canada. So I'm absolutely convinced that we can deal with these issues, and this will not get in the way of our collective determination to keep our deterrence strong. Starmer, which is the British Prime Minister, also gets asked on tariffs. It's early days, he says, stressing the importance of open trade relations. He acknowledges the tensions with the EU, saying, I know that intense US-EU discussions are planned, but he does not accept he would need to choose between the US and the EU. Repeatedly asked about Donald Trump's tariffs follow-ups, both Rutt and Starmer told the diplomatic line to avoid any controversy. But Rutt eventually goes further in his comments when asked if it's time to plan for a NATO without the US. So the ditching the whore and just being independent from the whore. I don't think that's going to work very well, right? Well, we will see in the prophecies, right? To your question on NATO and the assumption that you could run NATO without the US, that is for so many reasons a silly thought, he says, because America is funding the most of the money into NATO. NATO don't really have too much of an army without the US and equipment and all that kind of stuff, right? A NATO or whatever, a NATO or whatever the organization is then called, because what does it stand for? North Atlantic Treaty Organization, right? It wouldn't be enough to do with America no more, so the North Atlantic doesn't have nothing to do with it. Anyway, that's another matter. Without the US, for many reasons, that would not work. Right, stresses. When you look at Ukraine, it is not just Ukraine and Russia. This will be bad enough, but it is a geopolitical thing which is going on, and the US and the European side of NATO realize that. The European side of NATO. It is China, North Korea, Iran, all getting connected to Russia. This is a geopolitical thing playing out at the moment, and this is why Ukraine must win, whatever. Not just for Ukraine's sake, but also for the wider geopolitical impact. All right, so then they might, some of the US faithful, they don't want to, bite their hand that feeds them, but some do. But like I said, that's the kind of thing that's going on right now, and that's all in prophecy. So let me come here. Revelation chapter 17, verse 16 says, "And the 10 horns, okay, which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." Right. So that's the horns of the scarlet colored beast with 7 heads. Right. These shall hate the whore, okay, which is America. Right. And shall make her desolate and naked. Like I said, they're fed up with how they're being treated, how America's dealing with them, right, and the problems that they're causing in the planet, right? And they shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So these nations with military and missiles and nukes and all kinds of things, man, right? When the time comes, the Most High is going to put the spirit upon the allies of America to shoot missiles at it, and to destroy it. Okay, alongside with Russia and Russia's allies and whatever, right? The Most High is going to make sure America is put to an end, right? As it goes on to say, it says, "For God, the Most High Yahweh, have put in their hearts to fulfill His will." So that's a reason why this animosity is growing, because the Most High is putting the Spirit upon them, right? To be at odds, to be in disagreement, right? A house divided cannot stand, right? That's the Most High's work. Okay. For God have put in their hearts to fulfill His will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, right? And that's what the WF was kind of going on about. You know, America seems to be set up to slow it or stop it from their global agendas, right? But Europe's on board, right? But that's all for show. But that's the image that's being portrayed. All right. So they're giving the kingdom unto the beast, unto the EU. The EU is gonna push forth all these. Well, they were, like I said, they were doing it, but like I said, the image of it is that the EU is pushing for all these NWO things, right? The MOTB, the digital currencies, the 15-minute cities, and all these things, right? But even though America's still working on those things too, don't get it twisted. But as I said, the image that they're putting out right now is that these men are in Europe trying to do all this madness. But anyway, so for God hath put in their hearts to fulfill His will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Right? And again, that is America. Okay? I've read Obadiah. No. Did I read Obadiah already? Yeah, I did. All right. So yeah, they're looking to bite the hand that feeds them. So they're going to lay a wound under America by turn on them, man, and helping destroying them. All right. But it's Daniel chapter 7 verse 20, last scripture, right? And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the others which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. Right. So this is the part of the prophecy here concerning America, right? The 3 horns that came. So, and the 10 horns that were in his head, and the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell. The 3 that fell in America were the British, the French, and the Spanish. Okay, and that's how America got its independency, right? You like to celebrate that. So the one that came up was America, right? And it became, well, as it says, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, okay, whose look was more stout than his fellows. America have become a beast, right? In the sense, like, they become a world global power. They've become proud. Okay, they've become mightier than the nations that stemmed. Well, it stemmed that from Britain, but all these other, more established nations that were trying to take America, i.e., the French and the Spanish and the British, they overcome them and they've become a powerhouse in the earth. Right, that signed the end of the rulership of that side of the world. Britain's power is gone, completely gone. Right, Britain is weak as hell. Right, they just put up the front. Right, America has become that powerhouse, right, in the world, and has become the ruler of the world, and all these nations are subject under it. Right, and that's why it's become more stout, more proud, more pomp, and Trump symbolizes that perfectly. Right, and how he's going about business, how he goes about doing things. He don't give a shit. Right, and that's why he's not in business in man. He don't care to ruffle the feathers of his own allies. Right, and talk down to them like they're pieces of shit. Right, because that American pomp is real. That pride is real. Right, and like I said, these the beast, the heads of the beast, the horns of the beast, they're sick and tired of being treated like this. Right, and so they're gonna wild out. They're gonna act up. Right, they're acting up. Okay, they're gonna cause issues later on down the line, as according to prophecy. you know. So that's what we're seeing in the news and that. Trump is doing a lot. He's moving quick, right? But the devil coming for great wrath because you have a bit of short time. So things are moving quick, man, and you know, and we're going to see how this goes, man. But yeah, I'm going to end it there anyway. Like I said, this is just supposed to be a quick one. So Kahala Yabashim Yabashai. The ones unto the elders and apostles, and Shalom to the whole world, preaching the truth in all sincerity. Till next time, I say Shalom.